A U.S. Navy fast attack submarine just sent an Iranian frigate straight to the bottom of the Indian Ocean with a single Mark 48 torpedo, the first combat torpedo sinking of an enemy ship since World War II. That bad boy hit so deep, it satisfied in all the right spots, but not for the IRGC, obviously. The strike was on the IRIS Dena, a Moog-class warship with up to 180 crew members from the IRGC Navy. This happened while the ship was cruising home from an Indian Milan naval exercise. Yeah, kind of bad timing to be cruising back home when it's a war and your entire rest of your comrades in the IRGC Navy have been evaporated. This was in international waters off the coast of Sri Lanka, and this move blows the fight wide open even more against Iran's Navy. The US Navy is flexing global reach and surgical precision, proving that no Iranian hull is safe no matter where it tries to hide. Stick around because we're diving into the full war update, how this sub's hunter-killer playbook played out, and then at the end, we'll talk about the actual mission itself and how this went down from the perspective of a crew member on that submarine. But check out this breaking news right now. Hundreds of Kurdish fighters launched a ground offensive in Iran. Now, the Kurdish fighters look like they're pouring into Iran, and they've had some beef with the regime for a long time, with the regime basically trying to slay these Kurds. So the Kurds basically see an opportunity now to come in and strike down the IRGC. And then this is coming in from Reuters. Israel's next phase of the attack will likely be underground missile sites, but specifically underground ballistic missile sites. Because right now, Iran is trying to hide as many ballistic missiles as they can underground in concrete and steel-covered bunkers. So this is going to unleash a new wave of attacks, and Israel is going to specifically focus on the underground bunkers, likely the US coming in as well, since the US has B-52s that are now able to go in and do stand-in bombing. And this is directly from the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and the Secretary of War. And then here's an article about Sri Lanka trying to safeguard lives on a second Iranian ship that is going into the same area where the Dena was struck. So it's like Sri Lanka's like, oh, IRGC, we'll take care of you. Come on in. The IRGC is like, hey, we just killed 35,000 of our own people. Is it cool if we come and hang out in Sri Lanka? Do you guys have an extra room for us? And then this is an interesting article from The Guardian. It says, in a Trump war with great power comes no responsibility. So The Guardian always gives me great content to talk about. And then he also goes on to say that in a constitutional system built on checks and balances, the system is supposed to constrain the use of military force before it unfolds. Well, actually, Section 2, Article 2 of the War Powers Act gives power to the president to enact war in crucial times for 60 to 90 days. Primarily, the 60 days are supposed to be used for combat operations, and then the last 30 are supposed to be used to withdraw the troops in a very safe manner and not rush the withdrawal. And then the article goes on to say that President Obama struck a masterful deal with Iran that set up the world for peace forever. But at the end of the day, what President Obama did was give billions of dollars to Iran. And Iran was like, yeah, we won't build a nuclear program for a few years. We'll take your $100+ billion though, and we're going to build 5,000 ballistic missiles. But we didn't build the nukes that we talked about. And then Iran's basically next, they're going to use those ballistic missiles to protect their overall objective of that nuclear weapon. So here we go, guys. Here's the latest breaking news from CENTCOM. We've got some strikes happening on Iranian Air Force, Shahed drones being taken down, F-5s. Goodbye, F-5. You were a cool fighter jet at one point, but yeah, we don't want the IRGC having F-5s anymore. So good luck. F-5s gone, Shahed drones gone. So probably those C-130s will be taken out at some point too, but focusing on the fighters because those could actually go up and threaten the B-52s. You know, there's going to be F-22s and F-35s that would just be begging those F-5s to take off. But again, shock and awe. Something weird happens. Let's say there's a formation of F-22s and they get pulled away for a higher tasking. And there's a B-52 in the area, B-1. You can't have these F-5s up there. So that's kind of the point of taking those things down. We've got some fact checks right now. So Iran is circulating rumors. Imagine that, Iran. Rumors? Really? Oh no, they've never gaslit us before. But they're circulating rumors on social media of a US F-15E crash in Iran early Wednesday, and they're baseless and not true. US forces control the skies by launching from the sea. Yep, launching from the sea and launching from many land bases in the area as well. Effort to eliminate the Iranian regime's mobile missile launch capabilities continue, finding and destroying these threats with lethal precision. Good luck and good night to anyone who's hauling around ballistic missiles right now in Iran. Probably not a good life extension strategy at this point. That almost looked like a Lucas drone going into that. Kind of looked like a Lucas drone in one of those, which are the replication of the Iranian drones, kind of the big middle finger to Iran, just with way better avionics. There's some secondary explosions from that one right there. Boom! Great images coming off of the Gerald R. Ford carrier strike group. This one must be the USS Abraham Lincoln because the Gerald R. Ford doesn't have F-35s. So this one must be the Abraham Lincoln, and then these likely the USS Ford. So as you can see, CENTCOM keeping us posted and updated. Great stuff. So let's get into a deep dive of the strike on the Iranian frigate, the first since World War II with a torpedo. Iran's IRIS Dena was one of their shiny new Moj-class frigates packed with heavy guns, surface-to-air missiles, SAMs for you acronym lovers, anti-ship missiles, torpedoes, and even a helo deck. She finished up Milan exercises in India and was heading home when the US fast attack submarine slid in and gave her the business. Iran's been hitting back hard. Drones, missile swarms on US embassies in Riyadh, Dubai, port strikes, even tagging a fuel tanker. But their volume is tanking as far as their missile supply. Missiles are dropping from hundreds a day to barely a trickle, with a few dozen now being launched per day. Drones are doing the exact same thing, with their actual amount of drone launches down over 70%. Production sites are also getting hammered, so Iran used to be able to make 100 extra ballistic missiles per month, and now that's basically ground to a halt as the regime is in absolute free fall on their heels, and this strike of the Dena just exemplifies that. The Iranian missile launchers have also been getting wrecked, and their capability is getting gutted. And the Department of War yesterday showing that these different sites in southern Iran are being absolutely pummeled by the US, and now US B-52s, B-1s can now go in because air superiority has been established, at least in the southern part of the country. And the US Navy projecting power with a fast attack submarine and a torpedo. It's basically like Iran is getting railed from the shadows from the US Navy. But this operation to take down the Dena dropped some serious bombshells that highlight how well the US is owning the game in Iran right now. Not just in Iran proper, but all around the world against the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. The US Navy just pulled off the first US torpedo sinking of an enemy ship since World War II, delivered with silent, pinpoint, balls to the wall devastation. The IRIS Dena is now resting in the bottom of the ocean near Sri Lanka in international waters, with at least 87 confirmed KIA and dozens more unaccounted for. The fight's now bleeding into the Indian Ocean or anywhere where the Iran Navy tries to enact force, proving the US Navy can reach out and touch anyone, anywhere. And Iran's missile launches have cratered by 86%, drone swarms down by 70+%, stockpiles overall down by 50%. So if the torpedo strike wasn't enough, now the decimation is basically going into all of the mainland and deep into Iran itself. So now Iran doesn't have a working navy or an air force anymore. Biggest mind blower though, the submarines are there lurking at all times. Imagine being a member of the IRGC right now, just wondering, what's underneath us? And then a Soleimani class boat was also taken out as well. And this is kind of the crown jewel of the Iranian Navy. It's named after one of their top generals that was taken down years ago. And that top general was responsible for all the IEDs, pretty much, the improvised explosive devices that maimed and killed thousands of US service members in Afghanistan and Iraq. Now, all of those different ships with the name Soleimani are being sunk. And that's one of their most capable ships when it comes to them threatening and trying to close down the Straits of Hormuz. This is a total game changer now. The IRGC knows, even if they're just trying to come back towards Iran, any of their ships are now fair game and there's no safety to be had. This is pure undersea supremacy in action from the US military. We're running Virginia class or even Los Angeles class fast attack submarines. nuclear-powered silent killers loaded to the teeth with next-level sonar, torpedoes. Tracking of the Dena actually kicked off with passive arrays, probably snagging the Dena's prop and engine growl through the integrated undersea surveillance system. The IUSS, your daily dose of acronyms, is on the way, don't worry. And this was backed by satellite and reconnaissance feeds from high-powered drones likely that were up above, like RQ-4 Tritons, other advanced drones that could be up there as well that we don't know about yet. Think Anduril, Fury, AI X-Bat. These shadowed this ship for days and miles out and then pumped data intelligence directly to the fast attack submarine. The fast attack submarine stayed blacked out, just receiving information whenever it needed it. And Iran probably did some jinking, trying to change their course, trying to confuse any of the airborne drones, but that was basically useless. Iran also has been known to use decoys, maybe dropping things in the ocean that have sonar signatures as well, trying to get the sub to bite off. But the Virginia-class submarine was like, we see your little games, but let's talk ROE, rules of engagement. In tight waters near Sri Lanka, obviously you gotta dodge any type of collateral damage, but this ship was in international waters with nothing else around it. The crew of the fast attack submarine handled this like pros. They likely closed to within 10 nautical miles, getting active pings from their sonars for their final determination and final lock once the hostile declaration had been made from space assets, drone assets, and lots of other technology that they knew exactly that this was the Iranian ship Dena. Then their fire control dialed in, course, depth, and then sending direct attack Mk-48 heavyweight torpedo screaming out at about 50 knots. And then boom, it hits the stern of the ship and that ship is done for. The Pentagon's footage caught the actual strike, and then the sub, after releasing that deadly payload, just dived deep, changed course, confirmed the breakup, and saw the actual ship sinking, and then they ghosted out clean. And this ties into the bigger fight because US air assets from the Air Force like B-52s, F-35s, F-15Es, F-16s are dropping bombs on fast attack boats from the Iranian Navy, and now the US is unleashing fast attack submarines. And this fast attack sub has advanced sensors, precision munitions, stealth. This is how you penetrate deep and leave the enemy gasping for more. This is American warriors underneath the ocean, straight up owning the battle space. Let's move to the section I like to call 4D chess. And obviously you guys know at this point, I just like saying 4D chess as many times as I can. It makes me feel very important. But at this point, the Iranian Navy knows they are completely being vaporized and wiped off the map. And this is all about saturation tactics from the US. Break the momentum of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps before it builds. Taking out the IRIS Dena hundreds of miles from home waters cuts off Iran's naval legs. It secures sea lanes and screams loud and clear, your ships aren't safe. CENTCOM fed the sub her predictable post-Milan track and turned a boring transit into a kill box. Decisive, necessary, low footprint escalation to shred Iran's power projection. Clear goal, protect the allies, keep oil moving, show iron resolve. Big picture, Iran is bleeding faster than they can regenerate, and the US coalition with Israel is staying locked in. Smart, ruthless pressure without overcommitting. Textbook power play. So let's ride this one from the inside of the actual submarine. Real American submariners executing with zero care given and maximum precision. We get the ping from CENTCOM. Shadow and smoke the IRIS Dena on her lazy ride home from Milan. Okay, cool. We're already deep in the Indian Ocean, and we're going to drop down now to 200 feet for ghost mode. Tow out the array and lock her acoustic fingerprint. Fast attack sub trails from miles behind. Invisible, tweaking reactor plant to stay whisper quiet while fighting any currents that could allow the ship to slip away and dodging any wild course changes or decoy BS that's being dropped from the actual Dena itself. The vast ocean means long burn, tight power management, constant topside comms to thread neutral shipping. Finally, they slide into within 10 nautical miles, the sweet spot. Periscope snap or active ping to nail the ID. Bearing, speed, and depth. The fire control team cranks the solution. Tube 1, Mk-48 away. Wire-guided undersea rocket at 50 plus knots straight into the underbelly of the ship. Late Tuesday night detonation. Hydrophones light up with the breakup roar. Kill confirmed. And then the sub just dives deep, changes their vector, evades any revenge hunters, and slips away clean. That's how you degrade a threat with zero American losses. launches. Pure sub-force precision and excellence. So there you go, guys. Day 6 of the US-Iran fight. 2,000 plus strikes hitting Iran. Their launches are way down. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Navy is taking hits worldwide with 2 more ships potentially lined up to take hits as well, unless they find safe harbor in Sri Lanka. Unless Sri Lanka lets these IRGC members be their new roommates. Good luck with that, Sri Lanka. American precision, tech, and resolve on full display, proving why the US military is unmatched. The US military is degrading threats decisively while protecting interests and allies. What do you guys think happens next? Do you think we see more strikes on these ships? More strikes like the Dena going down? Let me know in the comments below. Would love to hear what you think. And if you want to see me do a live pretty much every day, join the Max Ready Room. Click the link in the description. Become a channel member. I'll see you on those lives. Follow me on X. Follow me on Instagram. I'm posting there pretty much every day. And then click this next video that pops up right here. I'll see you on the next video. This is Ryan, also known as Max Afterburner, signing off.